Hey guys, I want to tell you a little story of why a Gen X latchkey kid ended up writing children's books about big feelings. Hi, I'm Stephanie, and hopefully you have been following me. I just started this journey, so I'll be um, doing some videos to have you get to know me a little bit more. But this one is about me writing children's books, and I want to know if you've ever stopped and wondered why certain things matter to you so much. And for me, it's feelings, which is kind of funny because, I grew up in a time when feelings wasn't exactly something people talked about. Being a Gen X kid, we rode our bikes until the street lights came on and we drank our water from the water hose. And we were independent before being independent was cool. I mean, let's face it. And I was surrounded by so many people that taught me how to be tough. And so thankful for that. So thankful. But, you know, being taught to work hard and push through and we survive things, but emotional intelligence certainly wasn't something that I grew up around or being talked about. It wasn't part of the conversation. A lot of us heard things like quit your crying or toughen up, you're fine, or my favorite, the classic, I'll give you something to cry about. But I don't think anybody meant any harm, right? It's just been passed down that way. And I think a lot of people my age are realizing something. Just because feelings are ignored, it doesn't mean that they disappear. They show up in different ways later. The older we get, we might try and figure out why we have so much anxiety or anger, or we feel so much shame and guilt around things. In my case, I'm a huge people pleaser, and I didn't figure out why until, my mid 40s. I'm 52 right now and I'm still trying to unpack a lot of this. Sometimes as adults who have no clue why we're reacting so strongly about something because nobody ever taught us what feelings are for. Nobody taught us that emotions are information and that being sad doesn't make you weak and being angry doesn't make you bad. Being scared doesn't mean something's wrong with you. So, in my profession, I've spent years working with young children and families as an early childhood specialist. And one thing I've learned is that children come into this world feeling everything. They're not just waking up one day thinking, how can I manipulate you? And I cannot wait until I can make my caregiver's life miserable. That's not the case, right? I mean, they're having these real emotions in their very little bodies, and they've been on this planet a very little amount of time, so they're figuring this out. We need to help children name those feelings instead of punishing them for having them. When we do that, something amazing happens. They begin to learn things like, I can be mad and still be a good person, or I can be mad and I can survive it. I can calm down without being shamed. You know, if we start doing that for them, it really can change lives. People often ask why I write children's books or why I have written my two books or how I got started with it. And, sure, I love to make kids laugh. I want to connect with them. I mean, my first book was literally about, it revolved around a farting frog, for heaven's sake. About in the frog, was learning to navigate through big feelings. But underneath that humor, it's about something deeper. I'm writing these books because I want to give children language that I didn't have growing up, and maybe the adults will learn about it too. I want them to know that feelings aren't something to hide from. There's something to understand. When children start to understand feelings, they have a better chance of becoming adults who understand themselves better. And maybe that's part of why this matters so much to me. Because at 52 years old, I'm still learning things I wish I would have learned decades ago. I'm still discovering that strength isn't pretending that you're okay. Strength is being honest. Strength is asking for help. Strength is feeling something and not running from it, right? It's embracing it and working through that. So when people see a children's book about big feelings, they might think it's just for kids. But honestly, I think it's for all of us. It's for every adult who was told just to toughen up, for every adult who learned to hide their emotions, for every adult who's still fighting to figure things out. Maybe we're not just teaching our children about big feelings, but we're learning to work through them ourselves. It's never too late. I do a lot of work with my husband, who is a mental health therapist. He owns his own practice here in town. He's also a motivational speaker. He has his own podcast, Rhino Resilience, if you ever want to check that out. But we started blending our two worlds together because we realized that I am helping build babies' brains, and he is taking care of the caregivers who care for our children. So it comes full circle. And so part of me writing my books and the work that I do with my husband, it's not just about helping children, but it just might be about healing a little bit of ourselves too. So I guess that's my why behind why I started writing children's books about big feelings. I hope to do more. And I hope you go on this journey with me. I just started this journey and I'm still navigating, and my videos will probably never be all polished and edited and scripted and all the things. I don't necessarily want them to be that way. I want you to go on this journey with the real, authentic, raw, messy, all the things me, because that's how life is. Life is beautiful and messy and all the things. And that's basically how I'm going to portray myself on this journey. And I hope you come along. So I'm glad you're here, and put something in the comments if you have been unpacking something as a Gen Xer. Love to hear about it. Thanks so much. Bye bye.